Hello, I hope you all are doing so well. I thought I was going to have a topic to talk about today. I really want to start focusing my videos more, but I decided, you know what? Let's celebrate crazy Gemini being in everything right now. And we'll just go all over the place. Not really. But what I do want to talk about, in my last video, I was talking about this regime change in the energy realms. Let's also take a second to recognize that we always have to realize energy reflects into the physical, right? So if that happened in the energetic realm, of course that would have to happen in the physical realm. And what I mean by that is we are all going to undergo our own regime change in our own bodies, in our own lives. I talked a little bit about this, right? With this energy kind of feeling like this walk-in, like everything is just shifting. Suddenly we're in a different place. We feel different. Our life doesn't look like we need it to look in order to complete what we want to bring in here. And it's not at all like anything we've heard in the past, right? Oh, this is not ascension symptoms. This is not a dark night of the soul. This is not all these other labels that we have put on it. It's something totally different. Maybe parts and pieces of that, but who even knows what all of that stuff was about, because that was all old energy, old dynamics, old structures that really need to go and stop trying to tell us how it's supposed to be and what we're feeling and what's inappropriate to be feeling and all this kind of stuff. Because I will tell you that when this change comes in, when you start to really move into your birth canal, right? Like, it's waves of pressure and release over and over and over again, this undulation. And you go through periods of elation, periods of overwhelm, frustration, and periods of kind of feeling like you've boomeranged all the way back to the beginning, right? Like, am I nuts? Like, what the hell am I doing? And then because you're always kind of cycling, right, going over these same things to really clear the stuff out, you start to feel like you've not made any progress at all, right? So, but this is all a part of clearing out our old density and our old lives. And our old lives, like, they have to go. And why do they have to go? Because everything that we have built has been on this old system. We say, oh, we're in the new. It's not about just moving into the new and feeling different. It's about moving into the new and recognizing, oh my God, this life, this foundation is not going to support the way that I now feel free to feel and think and be and exist. Because all that stuff has always been here, right? The truth of who we are as a light being. It's just been really hard to connect to and really hard to feel it because of all these systems and programs. And then again, it's this abuse, this tyranny from this spiritual realm, this energetic whatever, this energetic realm that has really been torturing us. Because as these high capacity light beings, right, we have come in looking for answers, trying to figure out what's going on, and we're going to people who cannot truly serve us because they're doing something different. There's something else going on there. We are embodiers of the light. Our goal is to bring the light in fully anchored all the way through and express through the body something useful, something realistic, something tangible. And if we look out, that's not what happens, right? We have a lot of people channeling, a lot of people doing energy work, a lot of people doing this, and that, right? But it's like, are we all just supposed to become that? We're all just supposed to be healers, speaking light language and disseminating this wisdom? And what good does that do, let's say, a normal person who is not sitting and being a healer, right? Like, we still have to have people who work all kinds of different jobs. So what does this mean for all of that, right? And so this wave of us that are coming in, it's like, we want boots on the ground. We want things. We want this, it's really this abundance and this, like, I just see it as this kind of delicious really long kind of farm table of food, like this abundant availability. And that's what life is supposed to feel like, right? This kind of endless buffet of nourishment. That's really what creativity is. Because when you flow that light through you into something physical, it actually feeds your light, right? It's like, and this is why we feel stagnant. This is why we feel stuck. This is why we feel unfulfilled, because we're actually not creating. And that is more important to life force itself than anything else. So I've been encouraging all of my clients, and maybe I've even said this on videos, I can't remember anymore, but there is a series on Netflix called Abstract, and it highlights a different creator every episode. So there's all kinds of disciplines in there, so something for everyone. And I love listening to lectures by creators, whatever it is, whether they're, an artist, painter, drawer, whatever, or they're an architect, or they're a developer, or whatever it may be. I love listening to their thought process because it's down to earth, realistic shit about the design process and what a creator actually goes through, right? It's like, I think we somehow think we're different because we talk about the light, right? Like there's some big different process we have to go through, and it's a struggle, and how do I figure out my mission, and how do I do this? But if you listen to these people talk, it's like, here it is, plain as day, here's the process. There is no process. You figure it out as you go along. And it's the same thing, right? Like, you can tell me that I'm a healer, and I'm a teacher, and I'm a channel, and what does that mean? I go and just sit here and talk and channel and disseminate more information? Like, there's millions of people already doing that. Why do we need another person doing that? Oh, because you have a different, really? What do we do with all of this, though? Just make ourselves feel like there's like a little bit of a gap there for me. This has always been my beef with energy work. It's like, okay, but if it's not making my life better physically and nothing is manifesting in the physical with it, it's useless. Like, even if it's wonderful and you're going to tell me it's whatever, like, I don't really care. It's useless. Why are we in a human body then? This is the beauty of being in a human body, right? If we are light beings, if we are creator beings, oh my God, we have instant manifestation because we can actually create things with our physical body. We're already in the physical. So we can take these ideas and these thoughts, and we don't have to wait for the energy to like download fully into matter form, or like wait for our own body. Like, our body's already here. We bring the light in, and now we can take what's in our mind, our consciousness, which is part of our light field, and we create what we want and what we desire, right? And what most of us want and desire is to help humanity in some way. But we don't all do that through chanting light language and like placing our hands over people's bodies, right? So again, I encourage people to watch this series, because you will see in each of these individuals the impact that they have on the world. You don't have to be speaking about energy and spirituality to change someone else's life through what you have created. And I love, there are all I don't know why this came up, but there was a movie my daughter wanted to watch, and it was about a Christian music artist. And, and there's a lot of those videos, a lot of those movies, which are like the story behind the big song, right? Like how it came to be. And it's always this kind of like very sad scenario, but that's, we learn through pain and we create through pain. And some of that's like, that pulls up our passion, right? When we suffer loss and grief and things like that. But it's more than just the negativity. It's the fact that we're kind of brought to our knees into the truth of who we are. And so out of what looks like the greatest pain, sometimes the most beautiful creations are born, right? So it's recognizing that, look, there are examples here already in this physical world that we can learn from, that we can start to follow and start putting these pieces back together and start connecting these dots. Because, I was watching, which movie was it? I think that Song by Mercy Me, I Can Only Imagine. And that song, I think that album went triple platinum. And they were showing like all the letters that people had written, like, you changed my life with this song, you changed my life with this song, you changed my life with this song. And I remember hearing that song for the first time, and there was something about it that was so powerful. It was so moving. But to watch this movie and to see that this individual, like, you cannot tell me this is not the light at work, right? Like, okay, yes, it's Christian based and maybe it has something to do with religion, but really, what is religion? You know, it's just taking something that already exists and putting its own stamp on something. So there is something behind that, right? Like, they're connecting to some kind of source. But what this kid did was follow his own voice. And in following his own voice, he actually inadvertently, unknowingly healed his whole family and healed lots of other people through this, what seems like one song, right? But the whole process that he went through to get to that point, to create this song, that is his story. That was his mission. That was his journey, right? Through the light, to be, let's say, reborn into his own light, which is exactly what we're doing here. So I'm starting to look at all these things and watch these movies in a much different, from a much different perspective now, understanding the wisdom that these are like keys, right? It's like, look at what is going on here and understand that you don't have to be a Reiki healer, you know, or a QHHT person to be able to change someone's life and to be able to help them, right? We can work in all different aspects of society, all different modalities, all types of different careers, and still do our light work. And isn't that exciting? Like, we don't have to be tied down, because I think we all feel like we have to find something here in the spiritual realm. Otherwise, we're not on mission. And I absolutely disagree with that. You know, there's the one, I think it's on the second season. It's maybe the second show. I think her name is Neri Oxman. I always kind of reverse that. I think that's her name. She is an architect, and she is she has a background also in like biomedical something or other. But she, I don't know if she still is or she was, whatever, but the head of the research, one of the research teams at MIT, you cannot tell me this woman is not a light being. I mean, it's unbelievable. But she didn't get stuck and trapped in the way that so many of us seem to be getting stuck and trapped, right? So something else going on there, but you can't tell me that is not the light at work. I'm sorry. Anyway, check that out. See what you feel from that. I think there's a lot to learn, and we have been limiting ourselves. We have been thinking, you know, of course we have, because this is what's been told to us, right? But like, we are here to break the bounds of everything. And let's start to open that up, and let's start to learn from our fellow human beings who are already here, who are showing us how to do this. Like I said in my last video, it's about now this light being learning how a human works through the matter state. Okay, how do I do this with the light now? Like, we already have the light codes, it's all here, it's anchored. Now we just have to figure out, how does a human create? Go watch the videos. Because I think you're going to be amazed if you look at it from the perspective of, I'm going to channel my light through my body, and what am I going to do with this? It's going to open up a lot more possibilities, I think, for you. I guess that's all I wanted to say. Really excited for these next few months. Not to say, though, that it has not been incredibly challenging. I know I show up here and I'm happy, but that's because I love also being in the energies. But in order to get into these energies, it's been like, I feel like Linus's blanket or the dust that follows Linus around right now. It's just so challenging. But I know, like I've said lots of times that's what this year is about, is really pushing through and getting out of this garbage. So please know I am here for you, totally supporting this transition, this wave of beings that are coming in to really make some changes here on the ground, in the physical, in the matter state, and excited to see that start to formulate. So I wish you all a wonderful rest of your day. Take good care. We'll talk soon.